Do you want to know how much time you really have left? Once you pass 70, every year feels more precious. And the truth is, your body is already giving you signals about how long you may live. Some people in their 70s still feel strong, sharp, and full of life, while others start to slow down, dealing with health problems and fatigue. The difference? It's often found in a few key signs, subtle but powerful indicators that can give you a glimpse into your future. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 signs that can reveal how long you may live after 70. These are not guesses or myths. They are based on real patterns that researchers and doctors have observed in people who live long, healthy lives. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own body and lifestyle, and more importantly, what you can do to maximize your chances of living longer and staying healthier. Stay tuned until the end because you might be overlooking small things that could have a huge impact on your future. And once you recognize these signs, you'll have a clear idea of where you stand and what changes you might need to make to add years to your life. Now let's get started. Sign 1. Sign 1, your walking speed. One of the strongest indicators of how long you might live after 70 isn't hidden in your DNA, your medical records, or even your diet. It's something far simpler, your walking speed. Studies have shown that people who maintain a steady, brisk walking pace in their 70s and beyond tend to live longer than those who slow down significantly. That's because walking speed is directly linked to overall health, muscle strength, cardiovascular function, and even brain health. Think about 2 people, Joe and Frank, both 75 years old. Joe walks every morning, keeps a steady pace, and doesn't struggle when crossing the street or climbing stairs. His movements are fluid, balanced, and confident. Frank, on the other hand, used to be active, but has slowed down significantly over the last few years. He struggles to keep up with others, takes frequent breaks, and sometimes feels unsteady on his feet. While Joe's pace suggests that his body is still functioning well, Frank's declining speed could be a warning sign that his health is deteriorating. A slow, unsteady walk isn't just about aging. It can signal underlying issues like muscle weakness, poor circulation, or even early neurological decline. Your legs are your foundation, and when they start to weaken, so does your overall resilience. The good news? Walking speed is something you can improve. The more you walk, the stronger you stay. If you've noticed yourself slowing down, don't ignore it. Start making small efforts to build strength. Whether it's taking more walks, using light weights, or doing simple leg exercises. Because in the end, how fast you move through life literally can tell you a lot about how long you'll keep moving at all. So pay attention to your pace. It might just be the simplest way to check in on your longevity. Sign 2, your grip strength. Believe it or not, the strength of your handshake might be revealing more about your future than you think. Research has found that grip strength is one of the clearest indicators of overall vitality in older adults. A firm, steady grip suggests strong muscles, good circulation, and a well-functioning nervous system. On the other hand, a weak or declining grip can be an early warning sign of muscle loss, frailty, and even a higher risk of health complications. Take Robert, a 78-year-old man who always prided himself on his firm handshake. He stayed active, did light weightlifting, and never had trouble opening jars or carrying groceries. Then there's Walter, also 78, who started noticing that simple tasks, like twisting the cap off a bottle or holding onto a heavy bag, felt harder than they used to. He dismissed it as just aging, but what he didn't realize was that his declining grip strength was signaling a loss of muscle mass, which could make him more prone to falls, injuries, and even shorter life expectancy. Your hands are a reflection of your overall muscle health. If your grip is weakening, chances are, so is the rest of your body. And the more strength you lose, the harder it becomes to stay independent, active, and resilient. The good news? You can rebuild it. Simple exercises like squeezing a tennis ball, using hand grippers, or even carrying light weights can help maintain your grip and keep your muscles strong. So take a moment and test your grip. If shaking hands feels weaker than it used to, or if everyday tasks are getting harder, don't ignore it. Because how well you hold on to things today might just tell you how well you'll hold on to life in the years to come. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Now let's move forward. Sign 3, your ability to stand on one leg. Balance isn't something most people think about until they start losing it. But your ability to stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds is one of the strongest predictors of how long you'll live. Researchers have found that people who struggle with balance are more likely to experience falls, injuries, and even cognitive decline. On the other hand, those who can maintain their balance well into their 70s and beyond tend to live longer, healthier lives. Imagine two women, Carol and Nancy, both in their early 70s. Carol has always been active. She walks daily, does yoga, and can easily lift one foot off the ground for several seconds without wobbling. Nancy, on the other hand, hasn't paid much attention to her balance over the years. When she tries to stand on one leg, she immediately starts tipping over, needing to grab onto something to steady herself. What Nancy doesn't realize is that this loss of balance isn't just an inconvenience. It's a warning sign that her coordination, muscle strength, and even brain function may be declining. Good balance relies on strong legs, a sharp nervous system, and a healthy brain. If you notice yourself stumbling more often, feeling unsteady when turning quickly, or needing to hold on to walls or furniture for support, it's time to take action. The best part, balance can be improved. Simple exercises like standing on one foot for a few seconds each day, walking heel to toe, or practicing light Tai Chi can help you rebuild stability. Try this test right now. Stand up and lift one foot off the ground. Can you hold it for 10 seconds without struggling? If not, don't panic. But don't ignore it either, because the more you work on your balance today, the stronger and steadier you'll be for the years ahead. Sign 4, your sleeping patterns. How well you sleep at night says a lot about how long you might live. Sleep is not just about rest, it's when your body repairs itself, strengthens the immune system, and clears toxins from the brain. Studies have shown that people over 70 who maintain consistent, high-quality sleep tend to live longer and healthier lives, while those who struggle with poor sleep have a higher risk of memory decline, heart disease, and weakened immunity. Think about two men, Henry and Bill, both in their mid-70s. Henry has a steady bedtime, sleeps around 7 hours each night, and wakes up feeling refreshed. Bill, on the other hand, has restless nights, tossing and turning, waking up multiple times, and sometimes struggling to fall asleep at all. Over time, Henry's body continues to function well, his mind stays sharp, and his energy levels remain steady. But Bill starts experiencing brain fog, daytime fatigue, and even changes in his blood pressure, all linked to his declining sleep quality. If you wake up often during the night, have difficulty staying asleep, or find yourself feeling exhausted even after hours in bed, don't brush it off. Your body is telling you something. Poor sleep can be linked to many things: stress, poor diet, lack of physical activity, or even undiagnosed health conditions like sleep apnea. The good news, sleep quality can be improved. Simple changes like reducing screen time before bed, sticking to a routine, getting natural sunlight in the morning, or avoiding heavy meals at night can make a huge difference. Sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's about keeping your body and mind functioning at their best. So tonight, pay attention to how you sleep. If you wake up tired, struggle to stay asleep, or feel like your sleep has changed in recent years, it's time to make adjustments. Because how well you rest today might just determine how strong and healthy you stay in the years ahead. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 5, your appetite and eating habits. The way you eat after 70 is one of the strongest indicators of how long you might live. A healthy appetite and a well-balanced diet keep your body strong, your immune system resilient, and your energy levels high. On the other hand, a sudden loss of appetite or poor eating habits can signal underlying health issues and even accelerate aging. Consider two women, Margaret and Susan, both 74 years old. Margaret enjoys her meals, eats a variety of fresh, whole foods, and maintains a steady weight. She looks forward to preparing her own meals and feels energized throughout the day. Susan, however, has noticed that she just isn't as hungry as she used to be. She skips meals, relies on processed foods, and has unintentionally lost weight over the past year. What she doesn't realize is that her declining appetite isn't just a small change. It's a red flag that her body may not be absorbing nutrients properly, which could weaken her muscles, slow down her metabolism, and even affect her immune system. A decreased appetite in older adults is often linked to underlying health concerns, including digestive issues, hormonal changes, or even early signs of cognitive decline. And when you're not eating enough, your body starts breaking down muscle, leading to weakness, frailty, and an increased risk of falls and illness. If you've noticed changes in your eating habits, whether it's feeling full too quickly, a lack of interest in food, or unexpected weight loss, it's important to take action. Eating well after 70 isn't just about staying full. It's about giving your body the nutrients it needs to function properly. Focus on whole, nutrient-dense foods, stay hydrated, and don't ignore a shrinking appetite. It could be your body's way of telling you that something needs attention. So ask yourself, are you still enjoying your meals? Are you getting enough protein, fiber, and healthy fats to keep your body strong? Or have you noticed a decline in your appetite and energy levels? The way you eat today has a direct impact on how strong and independent you'll be in the years ahead. Sign 6, your ability to handle stress. How you handle stress after 70 can tell you a lot about how long you'll live. Chronic stress doesn't just affect your mood, it weakens your immune system, raises your risk of heart disease, and even accelerates aging. On the other hand, people who know how to manage stress effectively tend to stay healthier, more active, and mentally sharp well into their later years. Take John and Richard, both 76 years old. John faces challenges just like anyone else. Unexpected expenses, health scares, family issues, but he has learned to handle them with a calm, steady approach. He practices deep breathing, stays socially engaged, and doesn't dwell on problems longer than necessary. Richard, however, holds on to stress. He constantly worries about things outside of his control, feels overwhelmed by small frustrations, and often finds himself stuck in negative thought patterns. Over time, this constant stress wears on his body. His blood pressure rises, his sleep suffers, and his energy levels drop. Long-term stress triggers inflammation in the body, which has been linked to nearly every major age-related disease, from Alzheimer's to heart conditions. If you're often feeling tense, irritable, or emotionally drained, don't ignore it. Finding ways to manage stress, whether through mindfulness, exercise, deep breathing, or even laughter, can add years to your life. Ask yourself, when challenges arise, do you adapt and move forward? Or do you hold on to worry and let stress take control? Your ability to stay calm, find solutions, and focus on what you can control isn't just good for your mind. It's a key factor in how long and how well you live. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 7, your social connections. The strength of your relationships can be one of the clearest indicators of how long you might live after 70. Studies have consistently shown that people with strong social ties, whether through friendships, family, or community involvement, tend to live longer, healthier lives. Loneliness, on the other hand, has been linked to higher risks of heart disease, depression, cognitive decline, and even early mortality. Think about 2 women, Eleanor and Barbara, both 78 years old. Eleanor has an active social life. She stays in touch with old friends, participates in a local book club, and enjoys spending time with family. She looks forward to her conversations, laughs often, and feels a sense of connection to the people around her. Barbara, however, spends most of her time alone. She has lost touch with many of her friends over the years, and though she has family, she rarely reaches out. As the months pass, she starts feeling isolated, her mood declines, and her overall health begins to suffer. Human connection is more than just emotional support, it plays a direct role in physical health. When you interact with others, your brain stays active, your stress levels drop, and your body releases chemicals that promote overall well-being. If you found yourself withdrawing from social activities, avoiding phone calls, or spending more time alone than you used to, it's time to change that. Staying connected doesn't mean you have to be surrounded by people all the time. Even small efforts, reaching out to an old friend, joining a group with shared interests, or making it a habit to have meaningful conversations can make all the difference. Because the relationships you nurture today don't just bring happiness, they help ensure that you stay healthier and live longer in the years to come. Final thoughts. Now that you know these 7 signs, take a moment to reflect on where you stand. Are you moving through life with strength and confidence? Or have you noticed subtle changes that might be warning signs? The good news is that most of these factors, your walking speed, grip strength, balance, sleep quality, Eating habits, stress levels, and social connections are things you can improve. Your future isn't set in stone, and the choices you make today can have a powerful impact on how many years you have ahead of you. If you've recognized areas where you need to improve, don't wait for a doctor to tell you it's time to make a change. Start now. Take more walks, strengthen your muscles, prioritize good sleep, stay socially connected, and find ways to manage stress. The goal isn't just to live longer, it's to live better. Because at the end of the day, longevity isn't just about the number of years you have left, but the quality of life you experience in those years. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. At 82, I've learned a lot about life, but there's one decision I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the right choice. My family encouraged it, promising that I'd have all the care and comfort I needed. I believed them. But once I got there, I realized that the reality was nothing like what I had imagined. I know many of you might be thinking about this option, whether for yourself or a loved one. Maybe you feel like it's the safest decision, or maybe you've been told it will make life easier. But before you take that step, I want to share 6 things I wish someone had told me before I moved in. Because the truth is, life in a nursing home isn't just about convenience. It changes everything. And once you go in, getting out isn't as simple as you think. Stay with me until the end, because some of these lessons might surprise you. And if you know someone considering a nursing home, this video might be exactly what they need to hear before making a life-changing decision. Now let's get started. Regret 1: losing my independence. The biggest shock after moving into a nursing home wasn't the small room, the set meal times, or even the unfamiliar faces. It was the realization that I had lost control over my own life. Before I moved in, I had my routines. I decided when to wake up, when to eat, and how to spend my day. I could take a walk whenever I wanted, cook my own meals, or just sit quietly in my favorite chair with a book. But inside the nursing home, I quickly realized that my time was no longer my own. Everything ran on a schedule that wasn't mine. Breakfast was at a set time, even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out happened at a certain hour, whether I was ready for bed or not. Want to take a walk outside? You might need permission, and you'll probably have to wait until someone is available to assist you. Simple decisions like what to eat, or even what to wear, started feeling like privileges instead of basic choices. I remember my first week there, waking up in a bed that didn't feel like mine. I sat up, stretched, and reached for the book I had been reading at home. But when I looked around the room, it hit me. This wasn't my home. My books, my favorite chair, the little comforts I had spent years collecting were gone. In their place were sterile walls, a bed I didn't choose, and a feeling I couldn't shake. I was no longer in charge of my own life. The hardest part? Realizing that once you give up your independence, getting it back is almost impossible. You adapt because you have to. You stop arguing when they tell you what's for dinner. You stop asking if you can go for a walk whenever you want. You learn to fit into their system, but in the process, you start losing yourself. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make life yours? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you ever thought possible. Regret 2: feeling forgotten. One of the hardest truths about moving into a nursing home is realizing that the world outside keeps moving without you. When I first arrived, my family reassured me that they would visit often. I believed them, and in the beginning they did. My daughter came by once a week, my grandchildren visited on weekends, and for a little while, it felt like I still had a connection to my old life. But as the months went by, the visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of coming. My grandchildren got busy with school and work. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone promised they'd come, but somehow plans always changed at the last minute. And suddenly I found myself sitting alone in a common room, watching other residents stare at the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered them. It wasn't that my family stopped loving me. Life just got in the way. When you're not around every day, it's easy for people to assume you're fine, that you're adjusting, that you don't need as much attention. But the truth is, the longer you're in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to forget just how much you still need them. I remember one evening, sitting in my room, holding my phone, debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to remind him that I was here, waiting for a visit that might never come. So I put the phone down. And that's when it hit me. This was my life now. Watching the days go by, hoping someone would remember to include me. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, once you're out of sight, it's easier than you think to become out of mind. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Now let's move forward. Regret 3, losing my sense of purpose. When I moved into the nursing home, I thought I was just changing where I lived. I didn't realize I was also changing why I lived. At home, I had responsibilities. I had routines, hobbies, and a reason to get up in the morning. Even the small things, watering the plants, making my own coffee, tidying up my space gave me a sense of purpose. But in the nursing home, those daily rituals disappeared. Meals were made for me. Cleaning was done by someone else. The plants, well, they weren't mine to take care of anymore. At first, I told myself it would be nice to finally relax. No more chores, no more responsibilities, just rest. But after a few weeks, I realized something was missing. The days felt long, stretched out with nothing to do but wait. I saw it in other residents too. People who had once been full of energy now spent their days sitting, staring, waiting for time to pass. There was a man named George, 84 years old, who had been a carpenter his entire life. At home, he was always fixing things, building little projects in his garage. But here, there were no tools, no projects, nothing for him to create. I watched as he slowly withdrew, his hands once strong and skilled, now idle in his lap. I feel useless, he told me one day. And I knew exactly what he meant. When you no longer have something to care for, something to work toward, life starts to lose its meaning. The mind slows down, the body follows. And soon you start to feel like just another resident, in a place where time moves, but nothing really changes. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself what gives your life meaning. Because once you move in, finding purpose isn't as simple as filling your time. It's about fighting to hold on to the things that make you feel alive. Regret 4, declining health faster than expected. Before I moved into a nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could still take care of myself. Go for walks and cook my own meals. I had my little routines that kept me moving. Grocery shopping, stretching in the mornings, even just walking around the house to keep my legs strong. But once I moved in, everything changed. At first, it seemed like I was just taking it easy. Meals were brought to me, and I no longer had to stand in the kitchen to cook. If I needed something, I could just push a button and someone would come help. But what I didn't realize was that the less I did for myself, the weaker I became. I stopped moving as much, and soon my legs felt stiffer. I sat more than I used to, and before I knew it, getting up from a chair started feeling like a chore. The muscles I had spent years maintaining were disappearing faster than I ever expected. And it wasn't just me. I saw it happen to others too. People who walked in on their own 2 feet were suddenly relying on wheelchairs. People who had once been independent now needed help with things they never struggled with before. The more help we were given, the more we seemed to need it. I remember my neighbor Alice, an 81-year-old woman who was lively when she first arrived. She used to take daily walks around the facility, insisting that she wasn't going to slow down just because of a number. But after a few months, I noticed she wasn't walking as much. Then she started using a walker, then a wheelchair. One day she looked at me and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I aged 10 years in just a few months." And that's exactly what it felt like. When you stop using your body, you start losing it. And in a nursing home, where everything is designed to make things easier, it's easy to forget that movement isn't just about convenience, it's about survival. If I had known how quickly I would lose my strength, I would have fought harder to keep moving, to stay active, to push myself even when I didn't feel like it. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to keep your body strong when everything is set up to make life effortless? Because once you slow down, getting back up isn't as easy as you think. If you're still watching this video, and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. On regret 5, the loss of privacy and dignity. One of the things I didn't fully consider before moving into a nursing home was just how much privacy I would lose. At home, I had my own space. I could close my bedroom door, sit in silence if I wanted, and do things on my own terms. But in a nursing home, privacy is a luxury you don't always get to keep. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was constantly being watched, staff coming in and out, scheduled room checks, and shared spaces where you're rarely alone. Even simple things like getting dressed or using the bathroom often required someone's assistance. I know they were just doing their job, but it's not easy to accept help for things you've done independently your entire life. I remember my first week struggling with the idea that I had to ask for permission to do things I once did without thinking. Want to take a shower? You might have to wait until someone is available to help. Need to use the restroom? Sometimes pressing the call button means waiting longer than you'd like. Even meal choices were limited. If you don't like what's on the menu that day, well, too bad. And then there was the issue of roommates. Not everyone gets a private room, and sharing a space with someone else, someone you didn't choose, can be frustrating. I was lucky to have a kind roommate, but I heard stories from others who weren't so fortunate. Some had roommates who were loud, unclean, or even had cognitive issues that made sleep nearly impossible. And no matter how much you try to make your room feel like home, it's never truly yours. Dignity is a hard thing to lose, and I didn't realize how much of mine I'd have to surrender until I was already there. When people knock but don't always wait for an answer before coming in, when you're spoken to like a patient instead of a person, when your daily routines are dictated by a schedule you didn't create, it changes you. You start feeling less like yourself and more like just another name on a list. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared to give up the privacy and control you've had your entire life? Because once it's gone, it's hard to get back. Regret 6, realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself it was temporary. I thought I'd give it a try, see how things went, and if I didn't like it, I could always leave. But what I didn't realize was just how hard it would be to get out once I was in. At first, it seemed simple. If I didn't like it, I'd just go back home. But home wasn't the same anymore. My house sat empty, and maintaining it from a distance became difficult. My children had already started making changes, selling things they thought I wouldn't need, even considering renting out the place. When I brought up the idea of returning, they hesitated. Are you sure you can manage on your own? Wouldn't it be safer to stay? We just want what's best for you. And then there was the issue of physical decline. After months of living in a place where I didn't have to cook, clean, or even walk very far, I wasn't as strong as I used to be. The independence I once had started slipping away, making the idea of moving back home more difficult than I ever imagined. I wasn't as confident in my ability to live alone, and that fear kept me stuck. I met others who had the same experience. They thought they'd try the nursing home for a little while, only to realize that leaving wasn't as easy as they thought. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to adjust to life outside. Some people even lost the option entirely once their home was sold or their savings were drained by the cost of care. There was no going back. That's the part nobody tells you. Moving in feels like a decision you can reverse, but for most people, it isn't. The nursing home slowly becomes your whole world, and before you know it, the outside life you once knew starts feeling like a distant memory. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the possibility that once you go in, leaving might not be as simple as you think? Because once you settle in, the barriers to leaving, whether financial, physical, or emotional, can be harder to overcome than you expect. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Final thoughts. Looking back, I don't regret growing older, but I do regret believing that a nursing home was my only option. I walked in expecting comfort, safety, and a better quality of life. What I found instead was a world that slowly took away my independence, my privacy, my purpose, and even my sense of self. Does that mean nursing homes are all bad? Not necessarily. Some people genuinely need the level of care they provide. But before you make that decision, think carefully about what you're giving up. Because once you move in, life will never be the same. If I could do it over, I would have fought harder to stay in my own home, explored more ways to get help without giving up my freedom, and made sure I truly needed to be there before making such a permanent move. And if you're facing this decision, I hope you take the time to ask yourself, is this truly what's best for me? Or is it just what seems easiest right now? Because the life you have today, your routines, your independence, your choices, is worth holding on to for as long as you can. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.